child has been diagnosed with a disability or they have delays, chances are you've heard the words National Disability Insurance Scheme, the NDIS. Your child may be eligible, but how do you go about it? So tell me, Alicia, what happens first?
Okay, first off, the best thing to do is to make contact with our team. So we have our special ECEI line. So when you call our 1-800, press 2 for ECEI, and you'll get to talk to one of our team members directly. So you won't be put through to some sort of phone line, you won't be put through to
A robot.
Or
someone in another country.
Or someone even in another department who's not sure exactly how the ECEI process works. So we are actually able to help you straight away.
Awesome.
Now, for some people, you will have exactly what you need straight away to be able to go for the, to apply. For other families, we may need to support you in this gathering of information. So by now, you may just have a feeling and you want to talk to us and meet with us. That's fine, we're happy to do that. You may have come from a doctor where they've gone, you need to see the team at Mission Australia. That's fine too, whatever it happens to be. And what we'll do is we'll actually help you through the process. So we will actually be with you where you make a phone call to the NDIS, we'll put it on speakerphone, the NDIA rather, and go through the process of answering all the questions. So we'll actually be there, so that way if they ask a question and you just go, what does that even mean? We're able to go, we have that right here. And so we're able to help prompt you with all the right things. So you can go through that way. Also, what we do is we help you gather the documentation that you need. Unfortunately, it's not just enough to be able to go, hey, my child needs help with this, and they go, oh great, let's do it. It requires a lot of evidence, so a lot of documentation. So things like letters from your pediatrician is great, especially if if your child already has a diagnosis, making sure that that's listed. Look at things like if you've been seeing any allied health professionals. So if your child has already been seeing speech pathologists or occupational therapists or, a psychologist, things like that. If they have something written down explaining, this is what happens with this child, talking about the functional capacity. And that's what the NDIS comes back to, is the functional capacity. Your ability to be able to do things that would be considered age appropriate for other children. And so we've got all that sort of stuff. It could be a letter from your child's teacher or daycare educator explaining about any modifications that need to be made in order to help your child just access daycare or school like other children, because all good educators, all good teachers will be doing that. Whether they even realize they're doing it, they'll be doing that. Okay, it could be things like an impact statement from you guys, from parents, explaining how, their inability to feed themselves or, physically they may be able to get dressed, like as in there's nothing wrong physically. However, they are unable to process the steps that need to take place in order to get dressed. So how you might have to actually physically dress your child every day because they don't remember the routine of how to do it. All these different things. And so we help you gather all of that documentation. We help you put it together. So that way, essentially it's an application for the NDIS, and we're helping you to put the strongest application together that you possibly can. And so that's what we want to do. So that is the first step.
Okay.
Gathering that information. Now, 3 possible things could happen. 1, the NDIA could say, yes, your child is now able to access the NDIS. Great. It may be, we require further evidence. And so again, we can help you further with gathering that sort of thing. And even our team, we have speech pathologists and we have an OT, we have a couple of OTs on our team. And so they're able as well to make observations.
And help with reports.
Yeah, we don't do assessments. However, we can use our expertise that we have on the team to be able to help develop a stronger
case.
Yeah, a stronger case for your application. And they may say no. If they say no, you of course have the right to apply again if you choose to. And so that's the very first step.
It's a big one.
Oh yeah, it's huge. It can be huge. A lot of families quite often have this paperwork all together anyway.
Yeah.
But if you need that support and that help, that's part of our job as well.
Absolutely. Because what sort of issues are covered under the NDIS?
Basically, especially with the young ones. So it's a little bit different if a child is over the age of 6. However, if a child hasn't got a disability, hasn't got anything with a name, however, they are exhibiting delays in 2 or more areas, your child may still be eligible for NDIS funding until the age of 6. So, for example, if there's some issues with communication and there are some issues with gross and fine motor skills, if we've got those 2 areas, your child may still be eligible, even without a disability. Yeah. And so the idea with the ECEI, so ECEI stands for Early Childhood, Early Intervention, because so much research shows that if you get in before the age of 7, that is where you can see the most growth, and the most growth that actually has long-term benefits. And so that's why the NDIA has put so much into this ECEI program, because
you're trying to capture it early.
Yes. And so by getting in early, making sure they're getting the support and the skills that they need, when they're older, they won't have those delays anymore. They will be, age appropriate and be able to do those things. Every child needs extra support along the way. Everyone does. I'm not saying this kid's now going to become like, all right, Mum, I got this. I'm 6 years old, but I'm going to drive the car to school. I've got this. Nothing like that. But, just age appropriate. Yeah. What you would expect all other 6-year-olds to be able to do for themselves.
Yeah.
And so, so that's what
you also help children older than that too.
Yes, the NDIS goes all the way up to 65-year-olds. However, the ECEI program, we go through until children turn 7. However, with global development, or the developmental delay, that's only until the age of 6. So it's one of those things where if you're sort of umming and ahhing about it, it's better to get in earlier when they're younger and get that sort of support. But that's part of what makes the ECEI program so special, because the fact that you can get in with delays up until the age of 6, that's amazing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because once they are over the age of 6, unfortunately, there needs to be that title. Yeah, which makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So what happens for parents after they've been approved then?
Okay, so you've met approval. You'll get a letter saying that, yes, your child's been approved. Someone in our team will get assigned it in our inbox, and we try to make contact within the first couple of days of getting that in our inbox. And so we'll give you a call and we'll say, hi, I'm such and such from Mission Australia, Partners in the Community with the NDIS, and we'll talk to you, and basically we'll set up a meeting. We try to set it up within the first 2 weeks of your application being approved, of access being met. But, we understand as well that sometimes you guys have things going on and all that sort of jazz. But we try and get it done within the first 2 weeks. And in that time, we actually sit down. Meetings generally the first time take about 2 hours. And we have some things that we have to go through, like different questionnaires and things. But most of that time is you sitting with us and sharing with us what your concerns are, what you've noticed. We may prompt you with different questions. We may do a milestone checklist with you. We love to meet your child. And so we can actually, first off, putting a face to a name is wonderful. And I think as well, I know for me personally, when I'm writing up reports and things, I like to imagine that child as well and sort of look back to what, happened in our meeting and, think about how, such and such was so cute when they did that, all that sort of stuff. We meet with your child and we're able to make our own observations then as well, which sometimes we may prompt parents with as well. Because you know what? Especially if you're new to this, you may not know yourself what is considered, age appropriate or whatever.
Well, unless you've had a child before, that you go,
Absolutely. And, and then there's always different ways to justify it as well. Well, that one was a boy, this one's a girl, all that sort of stuff.
Yep.
But yeah, basically we just try and listen and you share. And from there we come up with goals that you want to have for your child for the next 12 months. So it may be things like, a very common one is that they'll be toilet trained, as in they won't need nappies, or it may be not even fully toilet trained, it might be even communicating that their nappy is soiled. And so, being able to tell someone or someone that they need to go to the toilet. Or it might be something simple like eating a wider variety of food, rather than having to have the same things a certain way every single time. It may be the ability to, pick things up, rather than having to use the whole hand to pick things up, using like a little pincer grip to be able to pick things up and, delicate be able to do that. It may be the ability to take turns, to share. And again, some of these things will be age appropriate that they won't be able to do that. So, an 18-month-old, I don't expect them to be able to understand the idea of taking turns in a board game, those sorts of things. But when it is age appropriate, working towards those goals. And so that's what we create. And basically then, I just gather all this information. So all of us will be there and we'll be scribbling furiously or typing furiously as to all the things that you're saying, gathering as much data as we can. And also in that time, if you already have reports, like for example, you've already seen an occupational therapist and they've put together some observations and things, give those to us as well. Because any evidence that we can put into the plan
and the goal. Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
And work out what then to actually achieve those goals.
Yes.
Who you need to bring in on your team.
Yeah, and just to have a really clear picture of this child's capacity.
Yep.
And what steps need to be taken in order to build their capacity.
So once you've done all the goals and what happens then?
Okay, so for you guys, it might be a couple of weeks of waiting, but rest assured that it's not quiet on our side. We are furiously typing up these reports, using all this evidence that you've given us, and we basically come up with a funding recommendation. And in the end, it goes to the NDIA. So the NDIA is the agency. The NDIS is the scheme, is the actual funding and packaging. The NDIA is the National Disability Insurance Agency. And someone on their team will then look at this massive report that we've written. They'll look at all of our justifications. They'll look at what we have suggested the family needs, and different things may happen. So it may just be approved straight away, or it may be that someone on their team gives us a call and asks us to explain something or recommend something else. And in the end, we have this conversation back and forth, making sure that the plan that we deliver to this family is what the child needs. So every plan is individualized. You can't be going, oh, well, that family got that much, so that's how much.
Yeah.
Or this is not the standard amount that everyone gets. It really does come down to what the child requires.
Yeah.
And what the child and the family as well themselves might need. And so for the family, it may feel like, oh, what's happening? But rest assured, we are working hard. And then once it's been approved, we get in contact with the family. Generally the same day it comes back into our inbox and we're like, great news, such and such's plan has been approved. And what we'll do is we might come out to the family and meet with them. They might come to our office and meet with us, or we might even just do it over the phone. And we go through the plan and explain all the different parts of the plan and what each part means. What we also do is especially the first time, we show the family how to use the portal. So that is a big part of managing funding and managing just the plan and seeing what's happening. Especially if families choose to self-manage, which is actually an option as well. But I won't go into that. We'll go into that if you come in and see us at Mission Australia. But we just go through all of these different things. Ask if you have any questions. Make sure that, again, that we point out our email and our phone number, just in case you get home and you go, oh, I should have asked you that. I forgot all about that. Or, you're telling your partner about the plan later and they go, so what does this mean? And you go, I've forgotten. I have no idea what that means. It's okay. You can contact us. Yeah. I had a mother contact me the other day and her son's plan was approved in January. But throughout the year, this is what we do. People text message me, they email me, they call me. And I do my best to make sure that I can answer those questions and, you know, if I don't know the answer to questions, find out. And so that's a big part of what we do as well. And then the year goes by and we reassess and we go for it all over again. And so, yeah, that is what the NDIS does. That's what we do. That's how the whole process works.
It's an incredible process.
It is a big process, but honestly, it's incredibly rewarding. It's some of the families that I've met just, fill my heart with joy. And
it must be rewarding to see them come back a year later and all the therapy and the plan that you've set for them has made such a difference to their life.
Because we've been on the ground just over a year now. And so we're starting to do reviews. And so many of these children, I remember having a meeting just about a month ago. And last year when the mother and her little boy had come in, he hadn't been talking. This time he was talk. And I was sitting there with just my mouth just wide open. I was like, oh my gosh, look at him go. Like, that's huge. And so just being able to compare goals from the previous year to, you know, goals that may no longer be an issue. So we can say, all right, well, let's focus on something else.
That's great.
And yeah, it's incredibly rewarding. And some of the, like these families that you meet, they just, they're amazing. Very inspiring people, and the children are inspiring. And also I've met some lovely people who I kind of wish I didn't meet through work because I would love to be their friends in real life. And so it's just that sort of thing. It's a very genuine relationship that you can develop with these families, and being able to do something meaningful for them is huge.
I can imagine. Yeah. So as you can see, the NDIS is a big journey, and it may seem quite daunting, but it'll be very well worth it. And the team at Mission Australia would love to help you out. So definitely get in touch today if you have any questions, concerns, or you need some support.